Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. In today's hearing, an accuser testifies against her ex, with the defense rapidly challenging every word, pressing her on invisible injuries and contradictions in the evidence. But this isn't just about one moment. It's about a toxic relationship that lasted long past its breaking point, where every choice, every fight, and every mistake comes back under the spotlight. Let's see how the judge handles this one.
State of Michigan versus Perez Cortez Sharp, 250163.
Good morning, Your Honor. Nora Oliver on behalf of the people.
Eric Rose on behalf of Mr. Sharp.
And good morning, you're Mr. Sharp?
Sharp.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And Mr. Sharp, you're here today is for a preliminary exam, ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes,
People are
sure.
ready to proceed.
We move to sequester.
Pardon me?
We move to sequester any witnesses.
It'll be grand mutual order of sequestration. Call your first witness.
Yes, Your Honor. The people call Ms. Alexis Myers.
Ma'am, just remain standing. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, please be seated.
Yes.
And pull up to the microphone, speak loudly, and give us your name, spelling of your name for the court reporter, please.
Alexis Myers, ALEXISMYERS.
All right, thank you. You may proceed.
Good morning. Could you please state your name for the record?
Alexis Myers.
Ms. Myers, I'm going to take you back to October 17, 2024. Do you recall that day?
Yes.
Did something happen on that day that brings you to court today?
Yes.
Can you tell me about what happened starting from the beginning?
Faraz was picking up his clothes.
Okay, and I'm going to stop you there. You said Faraz. Who do you mean?
Faraz Sharp.
Okay, and do you see Mr. Sharp in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Okay, can you point to him and identify him by telling me the color of the clothes he's wearing?
Green or black.
Okay, and let the record show the witness has identified the defendant.
The record will reflect that the witness has identified the defendant seated at the counsel table next to his attorney.
Okay, so tell me what happened.
We had got into an argument and he was picking up his clothes.
Okay, and I'm going to stop you there again. You said he was picking up his clothes. Where were you at
In
this
my
time?
bedroom.
Okay. Is this in your home?
My house.
Do you can you tell me where your
Miss, I'm going to ask you to speak up a little bit.
can you tell me where your home is located?
15019 Palm Village Drive.
Okay, and is that in the city of Taylor, County of Wayne?
Yes.
So how do you know Mr. Sharp?
We've been together since 2020, dating.
Do you have any children together?
2.
So you said, just remind me, you said you were in the bedroom?
In my bedroom.
Were both of you in the bedroom?
Yes, where his clothes were.
Okay, so tell me what happened next.
We got into an argument because he couldn't use my car for whatever reason. He had a wet rag from the laundry. He hit me under my eye,
Okay, and I'm gonna stop you
my
there.
chest.
Do you remember what the rag looked like?
It was just a small bath rag.
And then you said when it hit your eye, do you have any injury from that?
Yes, I had it was swollen, a red mark. And then he hit my chest. I also had a video of that I sent.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you there. So when you said he hit you with the wet rag, I'm gonna talk about that first. Did he throw it at you?
No, he hit me with it.
So was it still in his hand when he hit you with it?
Yes.
And then you said he hit you on the chest. Can you tell me about that, please?
He just hit me under my eye and then hit my chest when we were getting into it.
What did he hit you on your chest with?
He hit me with a wet rag.
And again, was this in his hand?
Yes.
Okay. And did you have any injuries on your chest?
No, just the red mark.
So tell me what happened next.
After that, I went downstairs. I started getting the kids dressed. He was yelling from upstairs. We were arguing. He came downstairs. He grabbed me by my neck and he choke slammed me.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you there. Sorry about that. I just want to get a clearer picture. Your bed, is this a 2-floor apartment?
It's a townhome.
Okay, so did he go downstairs first?
No, I went downstairs with both of my kids.
Were your kids so your kids were in the room at this time?
Yes.
After you went downstairs, what did he do?
He was yelling from upstairs and then he came downstairs. And then I told him I was gonna call the police. I had the phone in my hand. He threw my phone out of my hand and he grabbed me by my neck.
Okay. And did he grab your phone out of your hand?
Yes,
Did he throw it?
yes.
Did anything happen to your phone?
Nothing happened to my phone.
And then you said he choked you?
He grabbed me by my neck.
By your neck.
And he lifted me up.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you there. How many hands was he grabbing your neck by?
2.
What was he doing with his hands specifically?
Okay.
Could you breathe?
No,
Did you lose consciousness at all?
a little bit, yes.
Do you recall about how long it lasted? If you know.
Maybe 20, 30 seconds.
Okay, so you indicated that, did he lift you up?
He lifted me up.
Okay. Where were you in the home when this happened?
We were right on the landing of my stairs.
When he lifted you up, do you recall about how far off the ground you went?
Maybe a foot, maybe less.
Did he lift you up with both hands?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me what happened next.
And then he threw me on the ground with his body on top of me.
So what kind of injuries did you have after he put his hands on your neck?
My neck was just all red. There were scratches all over my neck,
And then when he threw you on the ground, how did you land?
on my side, my back.
And then what did he do?
And then he kept apologizing. He was trying to calm the girls down.
Was he on top of you?
Yes,
What did he do when he was on top of you?
he was choking me.
Was this when you were on the ground?
Yes, he was still choking me, telling me to stop.
Okay. So when you were on the ground, and he was choking you, what was he doing with his hands specifically?
They were all around my neck, both of his hands.
And could you breathe?
No,
Did you lose consciousness at all?
for a minute I did.
Did you wake up?
Yes.
So what happened when you woke up?
When I woke up, he went upstairs to start getting his clothes again. I took the girls and I ran out to my car.
Did he say anything to you at this time?
He was just apologizing.
I apologize. I'm gonna rephrase that. Did he say anything to you when you were on the ground?
He was telling me to shut up, and I always want the neighbors to hear me.
And then, so after you got up, I apologize. Did you call the police at all?
When I got into my car, I did.
When you left the home, where did he go?
He was still actually in my house.
Okay. And then, after you called the police, did they arrive?
They arrived, and as they arrived, he was trying to walk out of my house and go towards the road.
Okay, and did you observe that?
Yes,
When the police arrived, did you make a written statement? If you
Um,
recall,
I don't think so.
did you speak to officers?
I did.
Did you get any medical attention after this?
No.
And I'm gonna take you back really quick. The first time that he had put his hands on your neck, I wanna ask you, what were you feeling in that time?
I was struggling to breathe.
Were you in fear for your life?
Yes,
And then when you had been thrown on the floor, on the ground, and he put his hands around your neck, what were you feeling in that time?
I didn't think he was gonna stop.
And were you in fear for your life at that time too?
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Your witness, Mr. Goes.
Thank you, Judge. Morning, ma'am.
Morning.
You indicated that this happened on October 17th of this year, is that correct? Of last year, excuse me, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and this is at the townhouse that you resided with along with Faraz, is that right?
No, I resided there with myself.
I beg your pardon?
I lived there by myself. He was there to pick up his clothes,
Oh, so he had clothing there. Was he an overnight guest?
just for a couple days, yes.
Okay, all right, so he didn't live there. Is that your
No.
testimony?
Yes.
He never lived there. Is that your
Never lived
testimony? Never spent more than a night?
there. No.
Okay. Now, you said that you suffered, let's start from the first. You were arguing about, what was the nature of the argument to
He
begin with?
couldn't use my car.
You could not use your car. Okay. And he then immediately grabbed you and started choking you?
No, we were arguing before that.
Oh,
We were arguing about the car.
oh. So if he doesn't live there, how did he get inside of your
He
apartment?
was picking up my laundry, his laundry.
Picking up his laundry. You let him in the house.
Yes, I did.
Okay. And he wanted to use your car. You said no. And that's when he grabbed you and choked you.
Yes.
Okay. And you were upstairs when he was choking you, is that
No.
correct?
We were
Downstairs.
downstairs. He hit me with a rag upstairs.
He hit you with a rag upstairs. And then, well, is it a yes?
Yes, he hit me with a rag upstairs.
And then while you were downstairs, he then jumped you from behind and choked you with both of his hands around your
He
throat.
didn't jump me from behind.
Oh,
I told him I was going to call the police if he didn't get out of my house. He
Okay.
ran downstairs. He took the phone out of my hand when I was dialing, and he grabbed me by my neck.
he grabbed you by the neck and he lifted you up off the ground.
Yes.
Lifted you up off the ground with both of his hands, and you said about a foot approximately. That's like this high. Lifted you straight up
Yes,
by your neck alone.
yes,
It's not what you told the police.
yes.
No, it's not. You said he grabbed you from behind with one arm and chokehold held you.
He did-
Now hold on. Now you're saying he lifted you with both hands around your neck. Is that your testimony?
Yeah, he did have me in a chokehold, but
Okay,
he also
but,
choked me.
all right, but the question is you said both hands.
Yes, both.
This time you're saying both hands before you said one arm.
Both hands.
Both hands then, okay. I could have just a second, Judge. I'm attempting to share a screen here, Judge. I could just bear with it for a second. I'm going to show you what is body worn camera video, a screenshot of when you were showing the police officer the injuries. Why don't you take a look at the screen, please? Okay. Now, the screen shows us where you are, and that's at timestamp is December 17, 2024, at 10:17, 26 seconds, where you are lifting up the back of your hair to show to the police officer the injuries on your neck, correct?
Correct.
In fact, there's a printout in color of the same. You recognize this?
Yes,
Does it fairly and accurately show the state of your injuries on the date in question now?
yes,
Move to have this move is marked as defense exhibit letter A.
Any objection?
No objection.
That proposed exhibit will be admitted?
Thank you. Move to publish.
Yes.
Thank you. Now, I'm going to mark it in pencil on the front as defense exhibit A. So, there we go. Okay, so if you could show us into the court where the hand marks are that Frost must have had to grip you, to lift you a foot off the ground. Where in the back of your neck do we see those injuries?
There's more pictures.
I'm asking on this picture, ma'am.
I don't know, I can't show you, the police didn't arrive right in time.
Well, it says at 10:17
Yes.
and 26 seconds, and this happened at 10 a.m. is when he allegedly assaulted you,
No,
correct?
it actually happened around 8:30 in the morning.
8:30 in the morning, you
I
mean
have
the
the
police
picture.
officers, hold on, you're saying the police officers waited an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes to arrive to the scene to take your statement so you could show them the injuries of when this occurred?
No,
Oh, so it must have happened later then?
no, it was a time frame of everything.
When did you call 911?
Around 9-something in the morning.
It was immediately after, was it not?
It was immediately when I went into my car.
It was when you went into your car, but that was immediately after the event had occurred, true?
Him hitting him, when he hit me in the face with a rag, and when he came down to choke me, we're a little bit apart.
How much time went between the time you were lifted off the ground with both of his hands and held your,
Him
Until you
hitting me
lost
with-
consciousness.
Him hitting me with a rag and putting his hands on my neck were two different time frames. He was still, after he hit me in the face with the rag, I was getting dressed. And I told him, and after I tried giving him extra time to get his clothes out of my house, he was taking too long. I told him I was going to call the cops if he did not get out of my house. And then he came down, and yes, he choked slammed me. He had his hands on my neck. This isn't the first time he's lifted me off the ground.
okay, my question was really simple, so I'm gonna ask it again. What time did this occur at?
I'm not sure of the exact time.
Next question. How much time between when you woke up or regained consciousness and you left out and called the police did that occur from when you were allegedly choked?
Probably took me 10-15 minutes to get out of my house.
10 to 15 minutes. And so you said this happened at 8:30 in the morning, so you sat in the car from about 8:45, 9 o'clock in the morning until the police arrived at around 10:17 or so.
No,
It would have been earlier than that or later than that?
I never said I went out to the car at 8:30 in the morning.
Well, you said you went out to the car, hold on, ma'am. You said you went out to the car to call the police, correct?
After he choked me.
After he choked you, how much time after he choked you did you go out to your car to call the police?
I'm not sure of the time frame. If it's up there,
I'm asking you, ma'am, from your memory,
I never looked at the time.
but you have it on your phone when you called 911, true?
Of the time?
Yes.
Yes, but I never looked at the time when I was calling the police. My thought was to get me and my kids out of my house safe.
That's not my question. So you don't know what time it
No.
was when you called the police. How much time went by between when you were allegedly
I wasn't
choked?
worried about
Let me,
the time.
let me ask the question. How much time went by between when you gained consciousness and got out of the house to call the police?
10 to 15 minutes after he choked me.
10 to 15 minutes after he choked you. And then the police arrived shortly thereafter because you were still in your car, true?
They didn't arrive within 15, they probably arrived within 10-15 minutes after my call.
So about 10 minutes after your call. And yet there was, and you would agree with me, there's no marks.
That's just the back.
I'm sorry, let me finish my question. There are no marks on that exhibit in your hand, or which is the same as on the monitor, showing where he allegedly wrapped his hands around your throat and choked you.
So
Sure.
there's nothing from the front,
I'm asking about this picture right now.
not right there.
Oh, then let's look at the next picture. And I believe the people already have that. Mark this one as defense exhibit letter B. Okay, then I'll just move to net. Okay. Showing you it's marked as defense exhibit letter B. You see that?
Okay,
Does that fairly and accurately depict the way that you look on this particular date and time, ma'am?
you see the mark under my eye?
I'm asking about, ma'am, I'm not asking you that question. I'm asking one question at a time.
My neck is right.
Ma'am, I'm asking one question at a time. Do you see that in front of you, ma'am?
I see it.
Does it fairly and accurately depict the way that you looked on that particular date and time?
I guess you can say that.
Okay, so looking at this one now, is the front of you, true?
Yes,
Shows your full neck, the way that, where his hands would have been wrapped around it, strangling you, lifting you up a foot off the ground, true?
Okay.
Not a single mark on your neck. Would
They
you
came
agree?
15 minutes after.
Ma'am, there's not a
It's
single
proof.
neck, there's not a single mark on that picture, which was at 10:17, 31 seconds, also on October 17, 2024. Would you agree with me?
Objection, Your Honor. It's argumentative.
It's not, I'm asking her to state whether or not my statement was true. There is no mark on this
That's
image.
false.
I'm sorry, there's no mark on her neck.
My neck is red. It's
Ma'am,
not.
there's no marks
It is.
on your neck. Where on your
My
neck?
neck is red.
Where is it red on your neck, ma'am?
Badgering the witness.
I'm not badgering. She's answering the question and I'm trying to get some clarification.
I believe she answered the question. She said her neck was red.
Right, and I asked where specifically on her neck, on this picture,
All
is your
over.
neck red?
All over.
Okay, let's take a look and see.
All over. This
Okay.
is red, is it
Now,
not?
we're looking at the video too.
Okay.
Where on this video is your neck red?
Objection, asked and answered. She has answered that.
Sustained, ask and answer. Next
Very well.
question.
Very well. So, you allege that, and there are no handprints of someone who would have been strangling you or choking you. Is that true?
So where are the pictures from right when it?
Ma'am, I'm
happened?
asking you about this picture and this picture only. Do you see any handprints on this picture?
I don't know, I can't really see it. My neck is red.
Can you see any handprints on this picture? Yes or no?
No.
Now, this is the body worn camera from the police officers that you showed them.
Yes.
Now, you also said that you then immediately left out, called the police,
Mhm.
and to say that he had been strangling you. True?
True.
Now, have you ever been convicted of a crime of theft? False.
Objection.
I can ask the question under 609.
No.
Have you ever been convicted of a crime of theft, dishonesty, or false statement within the last 10 years?
No.
Ma'am, isn't it true that you have filed a false report against Faraz and his mother back in June, if I'm not mistaken, July 6, 2024,
No.
alleging that he was allegedly assaulting you when he was
What
in
was the false
Southfield,
report?
Michigan?
Yes, he's assaulting me at his mother's house.
I'm talking about July 6, 2024. You alleged that he was assaulting you
Okay,
when he was in Southfield.
so what was the false report?
And that in fact,
Mhm.
you were in Gibraltar at the time. Am I right?
No.
Were you in Flat Rock?
No.
Were you here in Taylor?
July 6th?
July 6th of last year.
Then if I said he was assaulting me, I was there. I've never heard it to being a false report.
It was at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Objection, Your Honor. I'm gonna make an objection at this time. There was no conviction. I think he's outside of the scope of this questioning. He
Never.
didn't ask about the dishonesty, the false report.
I'm sorry, what did you say there?
I'm gonna object at this time. He did already ask if she filed a false police report, and she said no. There are no convictions on her record for this, and that's out of the scope of his questioning.
It goes to her credibility, Judge.
Pardon me?
It goes to her credibility as to whether or not she's ever made a false statement in the past.
Court will consider her credibility, so let's move on.
Thank you. So you deny that you ever made a false statement to the
Yes.
police officers in Southfield?
Mhm. Never have I made a false report.
Never.
Never.
And you also denied getting any medical treatment, is that true? On this case, on this particular type, true?
Objection out of the scope.
Actually,
No, that was exactly what the prosecution had asked on direct, was did she ever get any medical treatment?
Okay, I'm going to withdraw. I thought he was talking about that other.
No, I'm talking about this time.
You can answer that question. Did you ever receive any medical treatment?
actually, a few days later I did because I was pregnant with Faraz's kid.
Okay. And so when the prosecution asked you, you said no, but now suddenly you remember
Not the same
that you
date,
did get some medical
not the
treatment.
same date, no.
Okay, so you did get some medical treatment. Where did you get the medical treatment?
Beaumont Taylor,
Beaumont Taylor? Was that at a clinic or was that at the
the
hospital?
hospital.
Beaumont Hospital, okay. And that would have been on or about the 17th, 18th, or 19th, right around
I
there?
believe it was, around 20th.
Around the 20th of October?
Mhm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. And that was Beaumont Taylor Hospital, okay. And this phone that you had, that you were calling the police from, what was the phone? Was it the phone you have today?
Yes,
Okay. And what was the make of that one? Is it an iPhone or is it
it's an iPhone.
iPhone? Okay. And the same phone number, of course, right?
Yes.
iPhone 12, 11,
No, it's iPhone 13.
13. Okay. Thank you. Just a moment, Judge.
Any redirect?
I'm sorry, Judge, if I could just confirm.
Oh, okay.
So a note, oh, I'm sorry, something I did forget to mention. So you talked about how he choked you, lifted you off on the ground, then he body slammed you, right?
Yes,
And now you said that he completely fell, his whole body fell down on top of you, correct?
yes,
Okay, and he's about, what, 6 feet tall, maybe?
I guess.
About 6 feet, okay, and you're how tall now?
5'6".
5'6". And he did, now was he, when he body slammed, did you fall on your back or on your face?
My side, I was on my side.
On your side, I see. And was he facing, was it side to side
It
or
was
how?
more so just his chest was on me.
His chest was on you,
So
what part
when I
of,
went to go, when he went to go slam me, I was on my side and he was still holding me on my neck.
goodness. So he's, and this is while both of his hands are on your throat?
When he chokehold me, he was like this, but when he lifted me up, his hands were on my
Okay,
throat.
so when he body slammed you, I'm saying, where were his hands at that point?
When he body slammed me, I was in a chokehold, and then when he got on top, his hands were like this.
Okay, okay. So he choked you, not just once, not just twice, but 3 times now?
Yes.
3 times.
Mm,
So, and he put a lot of pressure on you, right?
okay,
I'm asking.
yes.
Okay. And he put all of his weight on your body as well, true?
Now his whole body was
Not his
on me,
whole
his
His
chest,
chest.
this part and up was on me, his
And you
legs
hit-
were not on me.
And you hit the ground pretty hard, I'm assuming. correct?
Yes,
Enough to knock the wind out of you on top of it, I imagine.
okay.
I'm asking, is that
Yes.
true? Okay. And obviously you showed those injuries to the police officers on the date in question, true?
Yes,
Okay. And that was the officers that arrived at the scene, you showed them pictures, or the injuries that you sustained across your whole body, I'm
yes,
assuming, true?
Mhm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. And when you went to the hospital, you showed them all of your injuries as well, is
This
that
was
true?
no, this was a few days later. I went in because I knew I was pregnant, my stomach was hurting.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But you didn't show them the injuries at all?
The hospital,
Yeah.
from the few days prior, I told them what happened.
Did they take pictures?
Did the hospital take pictures
I'm
of me?
asking,
No.
yeah, okay. Did you tell them all the injuries that you sustained from being choked, from being body slammed, all
Yes.
that?
Mhm.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Nothing.
Redirect?
Yes, Your Honor, briefly. So there's a few things I want to clarify. Initially, you testified that you were arguing in your bedroom.
Yes,
So do you recall how long you were in the bedroom arguing for?
maybe a little over 10 minutes, maybe
And then-
15 minutes.
And did you go downstairs after that?
Yes, I took both of my kids downstairs.
Were both of your kids in the bedroom with you?
Yes,
And you went with your kids downstairs?
yes.
And then, about how long were you downstairs before he came down?
Maybe 10 minutes, maybe a little less.
And I want to clarify some things. When he went downstairs, is that, you said he body slammed you. Before he body slammed you, what did he do exactly?
He was choked, we were arguing, I told him I was gonna call the police, I had my phone in my hand, I went to go dial it. He took my phone, he didn't throw it, he tossed it to the side. And then he choked me right in front of my kids.
Okay, so that initial choke, was it one hand or two hands?
That was 2 hands.
And did he throw you on the floor after that?
No, he put me in a chokehold after that,
Okay, so I
and
want
then
to
we
talk
went
about
to the
that.
ground.
Okay, so when he put you in a chokehold, was he facing you?
I can't remember.
Was he behind you?
Yes,
Um, Can you describe where his arm was in this
They were like this,
chokehold?
like he was like this, like.
Okay, let the record show the victim, or the witness is putting her hand behind her right hand behind her left shoulder, around her neck. And so when he put you in the chokehold, could you breathe?
A little bit, yes, in the chokehold.
Did he bring you down to the floor?
Well, we were in the chokehold, yes, and then he got on top of me and started choking me.
So was he using his arm around your neck to bring you down to the floor?
Yes,
Was he positioned next to you when he did
yes.
this?
His legs weren't on me. When I say he was on top of me, this part of his body was on top of me, holding me down as he was choking me.
No, so I apologize. I meant, was he positioned next to you when he had his arm around your neck in the chokehold?
Yes,
Like, were you parallel to each other?
yes.
Do you recall if it was his right arm or his left arm?
In the chokehold, I believe it was his right arm right here. Mhm.
And then when he brought you down, you had indicated you landed on your side. Where was he when he brought you down onto the floor?
He was right next to me.
And did he get on top of you?
This part of his body, like, his legs weren't over me or anything, but he was leaning over me. Just this side of the body was leaning over me as he was choking me.
Which side of his body? His left side or his right
Left
side?
side,
So was he laying next to you?
yes.
And did he have to turn on his side to put his hand on your neck?
Just not that object, this is going well beyond the scope of cross-examination.
Cross.
This is
So,
beyond the
this is a
scope of
redirect.
cross-examination.
I think we can move on.
Okay,
We're
I just wanted
part
to
of
get
that
a clear
testimony
picture.
before.
I can move on. Okay, and then you said you got medical treatment 3 days after. Were you pregnant at the time that the incident on October 17, 2024 occurred?
Yes, the 17th I was pregnant.
Do you recall how far along you were?
Yeah, I know how far along. I believe I was 7 weeks.
Did you tell him that you were pregnant
He
prior to this?
knew, yes, he knew.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Just one quick question. I'm sorry, maybe I wrote it down. You said it was an iPhone 11 that you had, true?
No, I have an iPhone 13.
Now you have an iPhone 13, then you had an iPhone 11, right?
Before I had an XR.
XR. That would have been the phone you used to document the calls and stuff like that back then.
Yes.
It was an iPhone XR.
Mhm.
Same phone number?
Same phone number.
Same phone.
Same phone number.
Okay, thank you. Nothing further.
And Ms. Myers, you may step down. Thank you. Any other witnesses?
The prosecution rests at this time, Your Honor.
No witnesses for the defense, Judge.
All right. Argument?
Your Honor, the prosecution moves to bind over as charged and reserve argument.
Mr. Goes, argument?
Yes, Your Honor. And I just want to retrieve the two exhibits. Here. The court obviously was paying close attention and has had an opportunity to review this testimony from this complainant. She says that the client grabbed her with enough strength to lift her a foot off the ground and then to choke her until she lost consciousness, and then body slams her, and then chokes her again from behind until she loses consciousness. And yet, the photos that I've shown from the body-worn cameras from the police officers who were right there at the scene, contemporaneous when this happened, there's not a scratch on her neck. Yet she testified there were scratches on her neck. She claims that he grabbed her from behind. The back of her neck is pristine, without injury. You would expect at least a fingerprint, even a half an hour, giving some grace to her claims, but that's how long it took for the police to arrive at the scene. How is that possible that a person could be choked with such brutality, with such force, yet unable to leave a single mark. Body slammed her to the ground, to the point of where she lost all of her breath, with his full breath body on top of her, choking her, yet doesn't document it in any way, shape, or form to the police. Not a scratch on her arms, on her, anywhere on her body that she claims where he assaulted her. It's fabricated. That's how. Had an argument. She used the police to get her boyfriend out of the house, claiming he assaulted me. It was the best way to get the police to come by. Claimed this guy was choking me. You have to look at this from perspective of not just what the person says, but what evidence is there to support their claim. Just because someone says something happened doesn't make it so. And when you see the evidence that I presented to this court, which is unadulterated, which was by the police department themselves to document these injuries, there's not a scratch, not a mark, not a slight bit of redness on this woman's neck. That tells me she's lying. Why? I don't know. What document do they have to show that she was even pregnant for that matter? Nothing, other than her word.
Well, that's evidence, isn't it? What she said?
Yes, I agree with that.
You said she has no evidence.
Well, what I mean to say is when you compare it to what is an objective perspective. So I would suggest to this court that this young lady has fabricated this. And another point I would also like to bring out is that on one of the counts that people have alleged that this is a domestic violence second offense. On or about July 23rd, he's alleged to have pled guilty or was found guilty of domestic violence. I took the liberty of looking up his record, and there is no conviction on that date. In fact, there was a dismissal of a case on the 33rd District Court in which Mr. Faraz was accused of a domestic violence, but that charge was dismissed. So the people don't have a prior conviction to make the claim for domestic violence second offense. With that said, Judge, I would move to dismiss the charges against Mr. Sharp.
Anything else you want to add, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm just taking a look here. It does appear that there is a dismissal in the history. I would move to amend the information for the domestic violence second.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
I would move to amend the domestic violence second offense notice to just a domestic violence. It does appear that there was a mistake here. But as for the other counts, if I may respond.
You want to amend, what do you want to amend? What count?
It would be count 2. Give me 1 second here. Count 2.
You want to amend count 2 to?
Just domestic violence under MCL 750.812.
In other words, I think the people want to move to dismiss the second offense notice.
Yeah.
Provisionally.
Mr. Ghosh, you don't object to that, do you?
Oh, of course not, Judge.
That motion will be granted. Anything else you want to add, counsel?
Your Honor, just that the victim, I'm sorry, the complaining witness here testified consistent with the allegations in this this report, and that there was a forceful, violent, or offensive touching here done by defendant Ross Sharp, and that it was not accidental. And regarding what defense just said about the injuries that incurred from this incident, it does not matter whether there was an injury for there to be a battery here. She testified that there was a battery, and she testified that she could not breathe when his hands were around her neck, and that occurred twice, where his hands around her neck, and then he also put her in a chokehold. And again, we would move to bind over. I believe that, given that this is a probable cause standard, the issues here are a question of fact for the trier of fact.
All right, thank you. The court has listed the testimony of the only witness here, and that be the complainant Alexis Myers, who testified that on or about October 17th of last year in the city of Taylor, that she was in an argument with the defendant, Mr. Sharp. They had been together sometime. The argument started in her bedroom on the second floor. She testified, Ms. Myers did, that the defendant hit her with a wet rag in the eye while they were upstairs. She had redness and swelling. She testified from being hit by the wet rag. She was also hit in the chest by the wet rag, had red marks on her chest. She testified. At some point, the defendant then grabbed Ms. Myers by the neck and choked her, indicated that she testified that she was choked 3 different times by Mr. Sharp, and he choked her the first time 20 to 30 seconds. She passed out. She testified Mr. Sharp lifted her up off the floor approximately 1 foot by grabbing her around the neck. She testified he defendant threw her to the ground, got on top of her, choked her again with both hands. She at some point woke up. She testified she was body slammed her. She testified that she did receive medical treatment. A couple of days later, she went to the hospital. She was concerned that since she was pregnant, and she testified that Mr. Sharp knew she was pregnant. Having said all that, the court find that the only witness we have here is Ms. Myers. The court finds she appears to be, to this court's view, a very credible witness. There's certainly fact questions for the trier of fact to determine. Having said all that, the court does find that the prosecutor has met their burden of proof to show that this felony offense has taken place, that being assault with intent to do great bodily harm less than murder or by strangulation. The court finds there's probable cause to believe the defendant has committed that offense. Probable cause is sometimes defined as a reasonable ground of suspicion supported by circumstances sufficiently strong in themselves to warrant a cautious man in the belief that a person accused of is guilty of the offense with which he is charged, citing People versus Woods, 200 Michigan Appeals. It's a 1993 case. We do know we're not determining guilt or innocence. We're just determining whether or not there's probable cause for this case to proceed. I do find there is probable cause, and we are binding the defendant over on that count 1 assault with intent to do great bodily harm less than murder, and the amended count domestic violence. Now that's a misdemeanor. So Raymond on information down in Detroit will be next Monday, March 3rd, 9 a.m. Bond will be continued.
May I address that, Judge?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. So we respect this court's decision. With respect to Mr. Sharp, I would like to point out a couple of positive factors to say he is gainfully employed, has completed his high schooling education, will be residing in Kalamazoo, Michigan, well away from anywhere this complaining witness lives. His aunt is in court at this time, Your Honor. His mother would be here, but she also had to work. He has strong family support from all members of his family who would be here today, but for my request them to wait outside as they would be witnesses. We're asking this court to reduce his bond. It was a personal. However, the court, Judge Shackelford, had increased his bond last week. So we're asking the court to reinstate his original bond with tether, allowing this young man to continue his employment, and so that he can also.
What is bond right now?
I'm sorry.
What is bond right now?
I believe it's $100,000 cash. I'd also point out this case was originally brought up back in November of last year. Planning witness did not appear. The case was dismissed. Sharp was in court on an unrelated matter, and that's when this matter was brought to his attention. Mr. Sharp turned himself in. He voluntarily was arraigned on the case, of course. And then we had probable cause conference, and then Judge Shackelford increased his bond to where he's now incarcerated. He's never missed court in the past.
I show that the bond right now is, unless it was changed, 25,000 personal with a tether.
No, Judge Shackelford increased it to $100,000 cash. Explain
Around
why.
the front, Judge. That paper on the front should be, close the file. Oh, close the whole file.
Yeah.
Close the whole file. It should be on the front of the file. That's the new paper.
It appears to be 100,000 cash or surety. Care to address bond?
Yes, Your Honor, the people will have to respectfully object to any modification of bond and request that it remain the same. The defendant here has violated his no contact order multiple times, sending harassing texts, including last week when he sent a Snapchat message to complaining witness Alexis Myers while only a few minutes after the hearing had started. In addition to that, she had informed us that his family members had driven around her home that day after the hearing and harassed her. So for the safety of the complaining witness, I'm just going to have to respectfully object.
And I would point out that prosecutions gave me the evidence after Judge Shackelford had already increased his bond. So the complaining witness had alleged that he had contact with her, and had given all this evidence over to the detective, yet Judge Shackelford made her decision without reviewing that. After we've had an opportunity to review it, all we have are screenshots of alleged phone text messages. Now, the problem is that with phones these days, that might have been enough 10 years ago, but today, you actually have metadata. So if the prosecution wants to continue with this, then the complaining witness's phones should be turned over for a forensic examination so we can verify whether or not, in fact, these calls were ever made, whether or not these social media posts were ever made, or were they fabricated by the complainant, which the defense contends is what happened. Mr. Sharp has never used his name on the Snapchat account under Faraz Sharp. He has never texted this complaining witness since he was released the last time when they were in court back in November. If the complaining witness wants to claim that these incidents happened, then let's have her put her money where the mouth is. Turn your phone over. Let's do a forensic examination. Let's see who actually made these phone calls. If it's him, then it's on him. But if she's going to claim that he's been harassing her and calling her and texting her, then let's take a look and see what's the date, the time, and location. So I would argue, Judge, that it wasn't enough when we were last in court for this bond to be increased. And he emphatically denies, as does his family, of having any contact with this complainant. In fact, the complainant is the subject of a PPO for which my client's mom got against him for her harassment of him a couple of years ago. And that's still in effect. So I would ask this court to, once again, reinstate his original bond, which was a $25,000 personal with a tether, if the court is concerned about the safety of him going anywhere towards or near the complainant. Thank you.
Thank you. Court finds the bond is reasonable. Court is going to continue the $100,000 cash surety bond with a GPS tether. Condition of the bond, Mr. Sharp's not to have any contact, he or any of his family members with the complainant in this case. And you each have a good day.
Judge, would you refer this also for pretrial services report?
We can refer it to pretrial.
Thank you.
Certainly.
Some people see the red flags and walk away. Others make choices that keep two people locked in a cycle. This wasn't the first time things got out of hand, yet they stayed, had children, and ignored what should have been a final breaking point. Now she's reliving her worst moments under legal scrutiny. When a toxic relationship drags on for too long, does it blur the line between victim and participant? How much of this was avoidable had the warnings been taken seriously? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more gripping courtroom moments. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.